Okay, let's get into audience questions for the week. First one is from Henny. Henny says, David, you've talked about the concept stochastic terrorism before. Could stochastic terrorism ever be prosecuted as a crime if you could prove why an individual committed a certain crime, if it was based on what they saw on TV, said by a particular journalist or pundit? Okay, I think the answer is probably not. No. So for people who don't know, stochastic terrorism is the idea that if you have a big platform and you go out on that platform and you say day after day after day, so and so is a terrible person and something needs to be done about them. They are kidnapping children and killing people, whatever, right? And you say, this person is a problem. This person is a problem. Given a sufficiently large enough audience of people, you would start to realize that the probability that at least one person in that audience, by virtue of having heard you say, this is a bad person we need to do something about, is actually going to go out there and might attack the person you've been demonizing or might kill the person you've been demonizing. There's a notable situation related to Glenn Beck and an organization called the Tides Foundation from maybe, I don't know if it's like 6, 8, or maybe even more like 10 years ago at this point. So the question is, given that people are motivated to do things, sometimes by external factors, could we ever say, if someone says, yeah, I killed him because Sean Hannity said so or whatever, could Sean Hannity be held liable? And the answer is basically no, okay? If you have someone specifically and openly inciting physical violence on a program or in the streets or whatever, that is potentially criminal regardless of whether anybody actually acts on it, okay? And that would have to be evaluated individually by law enforcement and by our justice system to determine whether doing that is a crime. Standing on the street as people walk by and going, this person's a child molester, kill this person, attack this person, do it, do it, do it. That in and of itself, regardless of whether anybody acts because of what you're doing, can be criminal. But based on how our current understanding of what crime is and the degree of agency that exists, unless someone wants to plead insanity on the basis of their actions, which also wouldn't link back to the stochastic terrorist, I don't know how you hold a stochastic terrorist accountable for a crime committed because of their propaganda and their public pronouncements. And I'm answering the question as asked, which is, would this be possible? I'm not even addressing whether this would be a good thing because it could have significant unintended consequences. I mean, I can understand how at face value, it might sound good to say, hey, you know what? If Trump's rhetoric is leading to Muslims or Jews or whoever being targeted and beaten up, it would be great to hold Trump accountable for that. Well, yes, it would. And the accountability should be that he's immediately voted out of office at the first opportunity. But I think there are probably other unintended consequences if he could be held legally liable individually for those, for that general climate that he foments, that may go along with consequences we don't like as much in terms of free speech and in other ways. But to answer the question, I don't know that stochastic terrorists under our current sort of organization and how the law works, I don't know how you're ever going to prosecute them as criminals beyond simply the legal infrastructure we already have around incitement of violence and public calls for attacks and bullying and the like.